Hey, tribe, what's up? Welcome back to another episode of In Touch with Terri. Thank you so much for being here and joining me. Look, I did a segment a few weeks ago with Tom Terranova, the CEO of Quad A Accreditation. I'm on this amazing task force about really leveling up the medical aesthetic space, specifically med spas, and the importance of having rules, regulations, and accreditation. And so today I want to piggyback on that conversation and get into the segment that John Oliver did maybe about a month ago. And so this title of this episode is I want to go beyond the filter. I want to unpack the risks and the industry's responsibility if you are choosing to be in the medical aesthetic space, if you have a med spa, or if you're thinking about, getting into the space, why this is so important. And why should you tune into this episode? Look, I've been in the aesthetic space for almost 2 decades now in many different variations. I spent 16 years in Fortune 500, as many of you know. I had the opportunity to start Terri Ross Consulting in 2012. I've been a practice consultant and sales trainer for almost 20 years. I had the humble opportunity to own a med spa in Beverly Hills that scaled and sold, and I'm a patient. So I have walked the walk, talked the talk, and I've seen firsthand literally what can happen when the business of aesthetics outpaces the medical foundation it was built on. And so why does this matter? Look, a few weeks ago, again, John Oliver released a segment and it took a huge aim at med spas. And while it had a comedic spin, it did hit home. And it was very sad of what's happening to these consumers and patients thinking that they're going to an accredited location. And sadly, people are dying or getting severely hurt. So it was, dead on, spot on about the lack of oversight, the confusion, what's happening in the market for patients today, and candidly, the serious risks that are happening behind closed doors. So today, what I'd like to do is unpack this a little bit more. Look at it through the lens of truth, of safety, and what we as professionals need to do. And we need to do better. So how do we redefine trust in the space? And what every practice owner, what you guys just really need to hear. I'm always raw, I'm unfiltered, I'm vulnerable, I'm honest, I'm no bullshit. And that's what I'm always going to bring to you. So thank you for listening, for your true commitment to this podcast, to supporting Terri Ross Consulting and the purpose that we serve in the space. So let's just dive right in. I think the term med spa has a very misleading term. People don't like it, and candidly, it may be hurting us. And why? The term med spa is unregulated. So it gives consumers perhaps the false impression that all facilities are the same and operating under medical supervision. That's not true. In some states, anyone can open a med spa without a physician or a nurse practitioner, depending on the laws, being on site. That lack of clarity puts the reputation of the provider's license and businesses at risk. We are all not the same. And so what is our opportunity? Own your medical legitimacy. We have to make it. I talk a ton, whether you work with us as a private client or you hire us for sales training. We talk about the unique value proposition and the importance of that. We have got to make it clear for patients and your team what separates you, your practice, from those that are perhaps operating without standard operating procedures or without oversight. We have to set a higher standard and lead with transparency. And so the term med spa has no real consistent legal definition across most states. Consumers trust the word medical, okay? But they're not able to verify what does that actually mean when we're talking about putting it into practice. The lack of oversight or who can lead leads to confusion, and it puts ethical practices kind of in the same category as unsafe ones. And the regulatory ambiguity undermines legitimate providers who are doing it right. Do you guys agree with that? Give me a hell yeah. I know that you guys will agree with what I'm saying here. Second thing I want to unpack. Aesthetic treatments does not mean aesthetic expertise. And so what do I mean by that? Let's break it down. Social media blurs the lines. AI, filters, there is a huge blurred line between aesthetic results and the training and medical safety that people have. Again, influencer marketing, filters, it's become the new norm. It's become the new credentials, which again, is causing people to walk into practices asking for things that they can't achieve. So it undermines the clinical expertise and, how we actually protect the patient. So when providers lead with marketing bullshit, marketing sort of savviness, and I'm not saying it's wrong, but when they lead with false marketing pretenses instead of their clinical mastery, it just hurts the entire industry. We all suffer. And so where's the opportunity here? I'm always looking for glass half full. We need to educate. We need to be educators. We need to inform our team. Market your credentials. Again, market safety profiles, training, outcomes, results, value. This isn't just about your before and after gallery that can get inflated. I want you to market the things and why you're different. That will always supersede everything else. And so again, when we think about your UVP, unique value proposition, in conversations like this, we're trying to unpack the risks and responsibilities in aesthetic medicine. And I don't want to undervalue what your UVP is, because we're not also in the discounting business. If you are that credible, highly trained with that level of expertise, there should be no reason that our mindset or mentality is that we're such that we are discounting and driving the price down. So we need to communicate why your practice is safe, legitimate, clinically superior in every way. So when we teach practices in our sales training how to develop those unique value proposition statements, that is not also to be held lightly. Have you ever tried to call your practice or call a competitor's practice and push back a little bit, give some objections? What about, the doctor down the street is less expensive? Or I've never had to do a consultation before, or why can't I just come in and get this treatment? Go challenge the process and you'll see what people have to say. Because the only way for us to raise the bar in a largely unregulated industry is to level it up, do it better, smarter, faster than your competitors that perhaps are doing it in an unsafe fashion. And also, patients don't know how to vet somebody. Yes, we can talk about board certification, but they don't know in what. Would we ever go get any kind of surgery? If somebody took a weekend course, we wouldn't do that. So they don't know, unfortunately, what questions to ask. And again, in the landscape of influencers, and which some businesses are doing the mobile thing, which I work with, and there's some fantastic, huge clinics out there. It's our job, more importantly, like I said, to educate the consumers the best that we can, because we have to earn their trust. We have to show them that we have the safety measures in place. Tom talked about a lot of great stuff, even on the safety front, with having sharps kits and the right drugs and the right defibrillators. I mean, things we have to have in our practices that some people don't even have. So things even above my level of expertise that we wouldn't think about. So credentialing isn't just a sales tactic. It is our ethical responsibility. So again, Instagram aesthetics and filters, and it doesn't mean that that's better competency. I think some of these things, sadly, can distract from, again, the trainings, the outcomes, and the real safety protocols. And when we think about many of you that are doing it right out there, what is the track record? Again, showing your results, showing the outcomes, showing the education, showing the sophistication, showing the technology, showing the techniques. Let's show the real thing. Let's continue on. And this is, again, you guys, I am breaking down John Oliver's segment here, okay? So I'm trying to unpack it for you guys in a way that's digestible. He talks about the strip mall versus the in-clinic divide. So again, why does this matter? There's a major difference between a medical spa that operates with a physician-owned, NP-owned, again, depending on your state and structure, versus one that could be in a retail space with no medical direction on site. So one has structured oversight and emergency protocols in place, and the other often doesn't, which again can put many people at risk. So what I'm asking you to do, your opportunity, is audit your compliance. You have got to make oversight non-negotiable. Even if the oversight is that somebody has to be within X distance of your location, if this is you right now and you're perhaps cringing in your seat, or you're like, oh shit, you guys, this is serious. And I just want to protect you and provide as much information and valuable content in people that I can. So ensure your team understands responsibility, the chain of command. This will help reinforce protocols and reduce liability. All right, number 4, let's think about pop-ups, concierge medicine, and appointment-only models. So again, this is the segment. Why does this matter? Look, these models are growing. There's a lot of unique ways to spin this cat in aesthetic medicine. It's not necessarily just brick and mortar like it used to be. There's other methods. And again, I have the pleasure of working with some of the best in the industry. So the models are growing rapidly. And while some, again, are operating ethically, many are not. So we need to make sure we have the right malpractice coverage in place, physician access, clear protocols, mobile or pop-up settings, setups accurately. If you have this, because what can happen if they're not, these types of practices become loopholes for unlicensed or unqualified providers. And this is what he breaks down in the segment. I think a mother and daughter went into a location. I don't want to take away from the segment, but I encourage you to watch it, listen to this podcast, and then go watch the segment. But the girl went in for a B12 shot. I think she was in the hospital for 4 or 5 months. I think a mother and daughter died. So you guys, this is serious stuff. And look, I have to look at it because I want to protect our clients, but more importantly, I'm constantly leveling up my own education to ensure I'm providing you guys with the most accurate information. So again, why does this matter to you? If this is your type of model, let's set the standard. Let's set the gold standard. If not, protect your position by educating the market again on what safety looks like. I think, so often we all want safety, we all want results, and we say that, but that is the exact question that I teach in training. When patients are, the first thing out of their mouth is, oh, I can get it cheaper down the street. Do you offer any deals? Do you have a discount? Do you have a special? I mean, this just makes my skin crawl. And we just can't. I have this quote here. Coco Chanel has a quote, right? And are they discounting? People, value and cost are two different things. And Dr. Durkin did a quote in New Beauty, and he said, do you trust the person doing your treatments the way you trust your general practitioner, your internal medicine, your OB-GYN? So again, if you're running these sort of mobile or pop-up models, we still got to play by the rules, guys. We got to play by the rules, proper oversight, documentation, product protocols, and you can have this boutique buttoned up business, which some are uber successful. This is the only way, again, how we protect our profession and our patients. Number 5, who's holding the syringe? So this is crazy too. We're unpacking the delegation. So I get it. There are so many people trying to scale, open up multiple locations, but your delegation is necessary, especially in high volume clinics. We want to train, level up, and have the best providers that we can in our practices. But delegation without oversight is just exposure, and it's not good exposure. So who's performing the treatments, and can they legally do it? I'm going to say, and I'm not a lawyer and I'm not here to judge, but I'm blessed to work with clients all over the country, actually. And there's a lot of people doing things that they shouldn't. And so the question really becomes not that they're not capable. It's not about that. And I'm not here to judge anybody's credentials on a clinical level, but are they trained on the complications? So if something happened and there's no supervision, why not? And what are you going to do to mitigate that risk? This is why we talk about, when we're thinking about our avatar client and or your narrative as a business, who are you? What kind of a business do you want to be? Because in a loosely regulated industry where the lines between beauty and medicine are blurred, it's critical that we reframe the conversation from the very first interaction, which begins from your external website, your brand equity. What happens when they call the phone? What happens when I come in the door? Like, have we mapped out the patient journey at every step? So the one question, again, often comes up when people are price shopping. Put it back on the patient. Ask them, what are you looking for when you choose an aesthetic practice? Is it price, safety, expertise, or results? Because we have got to move our business away from this transactional experience to transformational and to educational. Now, 6, look, what if something goes wrong? Why does it matter? Why should you care? A vascular occlusion, filler migration, laser burns. Now, maybe these things are rare, but is your team prepared to handle any of these? The cost is more than just clinical. It's legal, it's reputational, it's financial. So many practices, and he talks about it, don't even have Hylenex on hand. No crash cart. Like, they don't have the right protocols in place. So again, I was really taken aback by this segment. Like, it moved me emotionally that I felt it was my duty and obligation and actually professional responsibility to not only do the segment with Tom, but to bring you this breakdown, because the opportunity for all of you listening is run emergency drills, document your processes, your responses, your standard operating procedures. If you don't have it, I'm happy to refer you people that can. We do some of them, again, refer you to the right people in a compliant setting that can do that. We have got to build safety measures and a brand promise into your practice. And so what are some additional things to consider? Most adverse events basically escalate because of poor recognition, not just poor technique. Patients assume, sadly, that every practice is the same and has emergency protocols in place, but many don't. Being unprepared can result in lawsuits, again, damage to your brand, and perhaps board action, which affects your license. Safety preparedness. It's not a part of just onboarding. It should literally be a part of, again, running daily drills in your monthly training. And if it's not, about thinking that something could go wrong, it's about when, not if it happens, when it could happen. How are we ready and prepared? Number 7, the industry, you guys, the industry is begging. I know because I'm a part of it, begging for regulation. So what do? This isn't about, again, taking down med spas. Again, I don't want you guys to be scared, but it does need to be a wake-up call. The best providers and leaders are already calling and requesting for higher standards and regulation. So accreditation's coming. Be proactive. It's going to set you apart and is going to weed out the shit in the businesses that shouldn't be operating in this space. So again, I keep talking about Tom Terranova, Quad A. We've been working on a formal accreditation for non-surgical aesthetic practices, and early adoption just won't protect your practice, you guys. It will set you up as a leader. So I do invite you to go watch the last segment with Tom Terranova, and we got to level it up. Providers want clear rules. We need a clear level playing field. Accreditation is going to build additional and continued trust and improves operational consistency. Waiting for regulations to hit your doorstep means you're already behind. So if you take this segment to heart and you recognize that maybe some things are going well and some things are not going well, and you need to level up the protocols, the SOPs, the legal, the compliance, the training, the drills. This is the only way that you guys can be an early adopter in this sea of competition and get an edge up on shifting your marketing from being so promotional to more educational around, again, the safety benefits that we've been talking about and the legal protection that you need. And then this isn't just an anti-med spa. It's really looking at this industry as a whole and saying, how do we proactively be more safe? How can we continue to increase the growth? Because the industry continues to grow fast at double digits. But without the structure, it risks collapsing completely underneath us, you guys. That's a serious thing. The clinics that want to thrive, that want sustainable, profitable businesses, that's who we want to work with. We get a lot of clients that need our help, but they're not ready, or they think that working with experts with a proven method is an expense. And let me be very clear and candidly be very bold. The money and the time that it will save you to work with people that have all been there with a formulated, proven method is exponential. It will decrease your risk, mitigate that, help you get the right processes, procedures, protocols, profitability, training in place so you are set up versus waiting 3 or 4 years hoping something's going to change. It's difficult to run this business. I talk often. I'm blessed to speak all over the country on so many stages and teach this stuff, but we can't fear regulation. We need to embrace it. We need to embrace that the business of aesthetics is serious. If you want to play, you got to play big. You got to play hard. You got to play fast. You got to play smart. This isn't for like mediocre businesses out there. We have to be different and build a practice that patients want to come to, they want to talk about, that leads to retention. It leads to lifetime value. It leads to profitability. These are the businesses that people are going to go shout from the rooftops and tell everybody about versus the ones that are in these high volume, price driven based businesses. Eventually that won't last. And so patients are getting smarter. They're super savvy. We have a ton of internet, AI. They're going to gravitate eventually to practices that lead with integrity. That will supersede everything else. Regulation isn't the enemy. It's the evolution of where our industry is going. And Just like growth in any other company, it requires training, it requires structure, it requires leadership, it requires accountability. That is just a fact. I want to say that one more time. If your provider's listening, again, how much time and money did you spend to get your degree? How much time and money and effort have you spent perfecting your craft when you're injecting or when you're doing a laser treatment? I mean, obviously, as surgeons, it's the same concept, right? We're perfecting our surgical techniques. But if you are an entrepreneur and you own a business, it is your responsibility. I'm going to say it again, because if you want growth, growth is only going to come from a team that's trained, culture and leadership, a growth mindset, structure, accountability, execution. And if you lack in any one of those areas, this is where we can come in and help you. And having that real competitive edge is going to move this industry forward. So we unpacked a lot of stuff on here. I hope that you found this really valuable. So this is what we do, guys. This is what Terri Ross Consulting, this is what I'm so proud of what we do, the work we do, our level of expertise that our team provides. And we are not just here to help you grow revenue. We care just as much, if not more, about how the revenue is actually earned, which, growth without structure, without safety, without standards is not sustainable. So, I'm going to drop the mic now, and I hope you can sit with this. I hope this segment really resonated with you. I hope that you go back, listen to it. I hope that you took copious notes. I hope that you can challenge yourself. Be honest, be vulnerable. It's okay. And let me know where you're at. Let me know where you stand. We here at Terri Ross Consulting are here to support you. You can schedule a discovery call with us on our website, Terri Ross Consulting, the link in my bio and Instagram. We have a phenomenal assets on our store. We have a mentorship, which is a 90-minute call with us every single month with a community based. So we have so many ways to work with us. But if you are struggling in any point of this, whether it's on the legal and regulatory side or it's on the business fundamentals, I would love to hear from you. Your feedback means so much to me. So please like this, comment, share. This is what helps this podcast continue to provide value to you guys. So with that said, I appreciate all of you, and I can't wait to see you on the next episode of In Touch with Terri. Ciao, guys.